You are listening to the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast, a show by personal trainers for personal trainers. It's time to become a better trainer, get more clients, and change more lives. And now, here's your host, the head coach and founder of Fitness Mentors, Eddie Lester.
Hey guys, welcome to Fitness Mentors Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Lester, and I'm excited to be back for episode number 70. And in this episode, I wanted to go over the history of the fitness professional. I thought it'd be a really cool idea to do some research and really, kind of find out where personal training and fitness education kind of started, and then talk about kind of its path through the years and into what the profession has now become, and then even talk a little bit about the future of where we see the industry going. But before we get to that, I'd love to get to some announcements. Always, guys, if you have not joined our Discord yet, pause this video right now, go down and click the Discord link and join. We have hundreds of fitness professionals in there right now, as well as fitness enthusiasts, doctors, physical therapists, six-figure trainers. Everyone is in there right now chatting, becoming a better fitness professional, learning more and more about health and wellness and what works for other trainers. It's an amazing community. I highly recommend you join, as well as the whole Fitness Mentors team is in there chatting daily as well. So make sure you click on that link in the show notes right now and sign up. Also, just wanted to give a big shout out to my new daughter. I welcomed in a baby girl on February 10th, or just about 5 days ago. And couldn't be more excited. I have 3 boys already, so we got our girl, and very happy to say that we are now complete with the Lester family. So just wanted to bring that up as well. It's basically let you know that Fitness Mentors has a new team member. It's a little smaller and developing well, but mom's healthy, baby's healthy, so just ever so grateful for that. And just wanted to let you guys know, as I know we're friends. Everyone listening feels like a friend out there. So, and I know I talked to a ton of listeners out there, so just wanted to let you know that everyone is healthy, happy, safe, and we are, we'll say, adapting well to the new baby. So, brothers love her and want to hold her all the time and kiss her and get their grimy hands all over her. But anyways, just wanted to drive that announcement really quick. So thank you so much all out there for caring and sending the nice messages. I really appreciate that. And you guys are all family to me as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the history of the fitness professional. And I wanted to start with kind of what I believe as really the forefront of kind of exercise research, as well as where the sciences kind of are come from in that sense. And I really point to the creation of the Federation of Sports Medicine in New York City on basically April 22nd of 1954. They were basically created, and they basically were a part of a program from the American Association for Health, Physical Education, and Recreation. And this basically, this Federation of Sports Medicine actually 1 year later changed its name to the American College of Sports Medicine, or otherwise what you might hear of as ACSM, one of the very first fitness certifications. And really the American College of Sports Medicine got their start really in the research phase of basically funding research around exercise. And one fun fact is that the American College of Sports Medicine was founded by 7 physical education professionals, meaning teachers, as well as people that were assisting with professional sports, and basically, any physical education sort of, or 7 men and 1 woman in those fields, and then also by 3 physicians, and the 3 physicians were actually all cardiologists. So what started to happen in this time, the 1950s, is they started to, this was the time in which heart disease became known, for sure. And heart disease was starting to, we'll say, kill more and more and more people, or at least it was starting to be more understood. More research was being poured into it. And cardiologists recognized that physical education, or basically fitness, we'll call it now, or is what we call it now, or being active, improved heart functioning, and therefore prevented some of the symptoms and signs of heart disease. So cardiologists got together with physical education professionals, and they established the American College of Sports Medicine with the goal of, we'll say, preventing heart disease, but also to improve physical performance in modern day sports, as well as just for the general population. And what they did was for the next basically 2 decades really poured a ton of time and effort into studying exercise. And they even were we'll say, pioneers in exercise physiology and other exercise studies like biomechanics and kinesiology. And basically they set up a lot of the, we'll say, movement sciences and health sciences relating to fitness and physical education. And that's kind of where the fitness professionals really started. Prior to that, you had some, we'll say, coaches that were coaching maybe Olympians in specific sports and things like that, but there wasn't really a clear understanding of, why physical activity was healthy and why, working out helped you to perform better. So American College of Sports Medicine, almost, 70 or so years ago, started this process, and they've been around for almost 70 years with that same goal of creating or funding studies and science relating to health and fitness. So when we think of all the sciences that we study as fitness professionals and kind of where they come from, or we'll say a ton of those studies funded by the ACSM were really there to provide us the insight that we have now. And sciences as a fitness professional is very key to be able to create we'll say, effective fitness programs with scientific backing that basically let you know that if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get X, Y, and Z result relative to strength training or cardiorespiratory training, relative to how fat loss and improving heart function. All of the sciences that we know now really come from this push to basically help prevent heart disease, but through exercise. So tip of the cap to ACSM for really starting this sort of, we'll say, push to help people become more aware of physical activity and help them understand why physical activity is so important in the prevention of heart disease, but also just in the we'll say, improvement of life. And that's really where I draw the we'll say, line as far as where did the beginning fitness professionals sort of begin? Where did they begin? What eras? In that 1950s to 1970s, when you had this clear educational studies or scientific research studies that showed that physical activity improved heart function and prevented heart disease. And then all of the great stuff that came from that, which we now focus on as fitness professionals, is really from that. So when we think of now moving on into the 70s, and then we get into the 80s, we're starting to recognize that there are, we'll say, more and more people are moving from the rural areas or more farming type jobs into bigger cities with more industrial type jobs. Technology based jobs start to really come on strong in the 80s, and we start to see a shift of the typical or the ways that people are active. And in the 70s and 80s, this is where a true, we'll say, pastime of your career is no longer associated with physical labor. And that's for the larger parts of the population. There's definitely plenty of jobs out there that still consist of physical labor that have continued and were still very prevalent back in the 70s and 80s. But all of a sudden you start to see technology and technological jobs and city jobs become, or we'll call them desk jobs, become more prevalent. And therefore the population starts to realize that, they start to become more unhealthy relating to physical activity because they're at a job for 8 to 9, 10 hours a day, and then they go home and go through their routine, and typically that doesn't include physical activity. So we start to see in the 80s especially we'll say, push from the, we'll say, government to encourage physical activity. And this was really because heart disease was never really, we'll say, there was never really, the battle against heart disease never really won. And heart disease is still the number one killer in the world today. Or in the, we'll say, the U.S. today, as far as what do people die of most. Over 50% of people die from heart disease, heart attack, heart-related issues. So when we start to think about that, the battle against heart disease is really basically the stem of where the fitness professional comes from typically. But when we think of the 70s and 80s, you start to see a push towards physical education. And multiple presidents, and specifically first ladies, started to implement the food as well as exercise recommendations in we'll say, schools, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. This becomes a very pivotal part of the curriculum for youth. And within this is basically a shout out to the parents that they also need to realize that their physical education or their physical activity does matter for how long they live, how good they feel, and things like that. So education becomes significantly, we'll say, more impactful and encouraged around physical activity in the 70s, and then especially in the 80s, or early and mid 80s. And one thing that really led to the development of an actual personal trainer, aka fitness professional, was this push. And this is where all of a sudden you start to see gyms pop up, physical activity centers, okay? Physical activity centers that encourage physical activity, because people realize since you aren't getting that physical activity in your daily life through your career, it's important that you take time out of your day to do physical activity. Basically the Cooper Institute published a book on running, and running became a huge hit in the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, and is still obviously a huge or very important piece to exercise. But running becomes something that people start to do initially before a lot of major gyms came to every city. But running became a physical activity that people would just do because that was very quick and easy for them to go out and do. But then we start to see the arrival of physical activity centers or gyms or fitness centers, and this is where the true fitness professional was born, meaning a career in fitness is a very plausible way to make a complete, we'll say, life and career. And this is anything from starting out as, working in a gym, to being a fitness professional or a personal trainer, to membership sales, to running the gyms, into upper management, to owning gyms, and going all throughout that process. And this fitness facility center is really where we see the personal trainer career and pathway really come to life. And this particular occurrence around the, we'll say, late 80s, or early to late 80s is really when fitness centers started to come up, creates a real unique opportunity for fitness professionals to get clients. Because that's one thing that was very important. Nobody wanted to pay to exercise in the 70s too often. And this is, in the 70s you have your Jane Fonda arrivals. Obviously, when you think of the earliest fitness professionals, you have Jack LaLanne way back in the day in the 40s and 50s doing exercise on TV. So he would be kind of considered the father of the personal trainer or fitness professional. But when we start to think of fitness personalities, we start to think of the step aerobics and Jane Fonda and her coming out with a video series, which is one of the we'll say most successful exercise video series that you would literally put in your VHS and follow along to step aerobics. That's where you get the famous leotards and spandex of the 80s that are bright colors that are meant there for fitness routines. But when we think about those sort of steps and leading to people participating and paying for fitness, This is where, in these gyms, where fitness professionals could get clients and make money. The original fitness professionals were, we'll say, contracted by gyms and did a split in the sense of they were not employed by gyms because they would just come in and help people exercise, and people would pay them to help them exercise. Then gyms got smart, and this is where you see the creation of 24-hour fitness and some of the bigger gyms. Remember, Bally's Total Fitness was there. A lot of the older gym chains, even LA Fitness, was started to be created in the 80s. And fitness professionals now became employees of gyms. And this is where the fitness professional peaks and basically is the only real opportunities for fitness professionals in the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s was in gyms. And this coincides with the creation of, we'll say the top 3 or 4 fitness certifications. Because if people were to be employed at a gym as a personal trainer, they would need to have some sort of proof that they're educated to do so, because insurance companies want to make sure that they're not just hiring random people to help people exercise because they could get hurt, and that increases the chance of insurance claims. So the big certification bodies, NASM, ACE, ISSA, NSCA, a lot of those larger certification bodies were created in the late 80s, even into the early 90s for some of them, even actually some of them were in the early 80s and late 70s. But what we see here is this unique, we'll say, occurrence that the gyms needed proof that a fitness professional was, we'll say, educated enough and can perform or help people safely achieve their fitness goals. And all of these large certification companies, which are still the largest around today, were basically there to fill that need for the gyms and provide this education. And there's a unique tie, even still to this day, around those fitness or large fitness certification bodies and gyms. And those large certification bodies haven't really moved from expecting their personal trainers to do anything except for work at a gym. And I bring this up just because the current, we'll say, gym jobs are, we'll say the current career path for the health and fitness professional is kind of in demise. That idea of getting your certified personal trainer certification, applying at a gym, and working there for 30 years is at its demise. And the we'll say implementation of technology starting around the creation of the first smartphones and what does that really do? It starts to create the understanding that physical fitness can be performed in other areas besides a gym. But really quickly, going back to the tie between the large certification bodies and gyms, the large certification bodies were created in order to fill the need for the gyms. And that really creates this tie, once again, even still to this day, around the education that's provided within these certifications. What the problem is with that is that the current industry has a 90% attrition rate of people that get certified and then in 2 years are no longer working as a fitness professional. And this is the major issue that is causing the fitness professional and the fitness industry to really get a bad rap, is the fact that while there are outliers, and there's plenty of people, including myself, that still train people and are fitness professionals, there is a revolving door that's really put a kind of a big crutch on this industry. And when we think about that, it's really because the current gym job that a personal trainer might apply for and get a job at a specific gym, it really leads to a ton of attributes of burnout. And burnout is basically where you are overworked, underpaid, unmotivated, and it leads to kind of just a tough situation mentally, physically, and emotionally for these types of trainers. And I lived that life for my first, 3 to 4 years of training. I woke up at 5 a.m. Or actually, I had a 5 a.m. client, so I woke up at 4:30 a.m., got to the gym, and trained my first 2 to 3 clients from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Then I had a little break until maybe 11 a.m., tried to maybe get some rest or maybe worked out. And then at 11 a.m., trained maybe 2 people on their lunch break. And then, went home, maybe ate some lunch, maybe got my workout in the afternoon there, and then came back for about, that 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. or sometimes, 7, 8, 9 p.m. to finish my day. And so I'm training about 8 hours worth of clients, but it takes me from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's about 15 hours of a work day. And this is what we'll say is really hurting the ability to see long-term success and growth as a fitness professional. And a lot of what the large certification bodies have done is they've really tied themselves to this model. This, you need to train maybe one-on-one with, personal training, individualized training. You see them for 1 hour and then you leave. And then you go on to the next person. And to be honest, this is not sustainable. And it's very clear based on the attrition rate that we see in today's, we'll say, personal trainers, that this is not a way that we can continue. And this is the problem that we at Fitness Mentors have seen and really lived. All of us have been personal trainers at some point, and we know that sort of gutting and gut-wrenching feeling around how am I supposed to train this and do anything else that I want to with my life. I can't go on vacation. Taking a week off work means I'm not getting paid. I can't. Therefore, it's tough to have a family. My hours are all over the place. I don't see my family. It really is this downward spiral. And unfortunately, the large certification bodies don't have the opportunity to pivot in a very fast way. And guys, this industry is changing at the most incredibly fast rate. And currently, there's not a ton of education that helps personal trainers much beyond what those large certification bodies offer. This is something that we have really committed to at Fitness Mentors, is to take the next step away from this current situation that's leading to this horrible attrition rate and create a sustainable future for our certified personal trainers, the Fitness Mentor certified personal trainers. And for those of you that are out there that have taken some of our courses, you'll really realize that, while a gym job is nothing bad and it'll get you a great start in your career, it's just not sustainable. And what you need to do as a fitness professional is evolve. And we're here at Fitness Mentors are currently doing all the research that we possibly can to get our trainers set up for the next phase, the next real career path of the personal trainer. And what does that look like? Now let's start to talk about the future. So we talked about, the earliest innovations around fitness and health sciences, where that really came from, around the discovery of heart disease and how to prevent it. And then how we get into the 70s and 80s, and then fitness facilities and gyms start to pop up in which personal trainers work there. That kind of sustains our trajectory of our careers as fitness professionals within the gym scene for about 30 years, from about 1980 all the way up to about 2010. There's really not much opportunity out there for fitness professionals unless, you think about moving into education at a college or different ways, things like that. But then all of a sudden 2010 comes around and you start to see the opportunity of technology creeping into fitness. And, from the creation of something like Peloton in the early, teens, and at-home fitness equipment and technology on phones and apps and fitness programs via PDF. But the internet starts to take over the fitness industry. And now that's where we're currently at. For those of you that are at a gym job right now, it's time to create a sustainable long-term career for yourself. And that is not in the current situation that you have. working those hours is detrimental to your health, and it can really be tough to sustain. I mean, the person from a trainer that I had in the early 2000s had been working since the 90s all the way to about 2010. They lasted about 20 years with this schedule, and they were the top trainer at their gym for all of those years. And when they left, they had nothing. There was no retirement by the gym. There was no opportunity for them to, we'll say, progress through the ranks. They really just kind of were left with nothing. And that's really where it comes down to as a fitness professional, why that career path is just not sustainable, because there's nothing left once you stop. So for you that are in a gym right now, it's time to create. And when I say create, it's time to establish yourself as a professional that utilizes technology to connect with as many people as possible and help as many people as possible become healthy and prevent heart disease, as well as become healthy and reduce all chronic diseases, or reduce risk of all chronic diseases. And then really, what we see there is you need the guidance. You need the right guidance. And this is really why we created our impact-driven personal training model, is you need to have a model of getting out of that gym job. And the model is in our impact-driven personal training model. That is the model that we've come up with out of almost a decade of research towards the future of personal training. What do you need to be doing on a daily basis to establish yourself outside or into a sustainable long-term career? And the impact-driven personal training model is that. We actually created the maximum impact bundle based on that model to show you exactly how to go from personal trainer all the way to health and fitness professional, nutrition professional, and then virtual fitness professional, and how to scale that to create revenue streams that increase your ability to help a lot of people get healthy, or more people get healthy, or have a large impact on your entire community, while also improving your ability to have a long-term career with financial freedom and financial stability, as well as personal freedom and personal stability. Because me having 4 children now, tying back to the announcement earlier, there is no possible way that I could have really spent the time that I wanted to with my children and raising my children with the fitness career path that's most common today. So hopefully this is a bit of a wake-up call for some of you that are really ready to take the next step towards growing into, well, I know you're passionate. I know you're passionate about helping others achieve health and fitness goals, getting healthy, avoiding chronic disease, living longer, feeling better, performing better. And I know you want to also have the benefits of financial stability, personal freedom. And hopefully this is a call out to you that it's time to make that next step into what we're calling an entrepreneur's revolution for the fitness professional. Because if we truly put our best foot forward, we can really actually make a difference in the health of our communities and populations. Right now, because of the burnout that's currently experienced as in the regular fitness profession, the old school pathway is what we're referring to it as, the old school path of working in a gym and busting your butt for very little money without a sustainable long-term plan. What you're really looking at there is it's just not sustainable. So when we think about the future there, we have to understand that in order to impact the amount of people that we want to, we have to put our best foot forward, like I was mentioning. And that next foot forward is to take time to ourselves to create that path. And here at Fitness Mentors, we're doing our best to create the new path. The old school path is out. That's done. The old school gym jobs, the trying to rank up in your gym and move up that path is, while it's absolutely awesome and does help people definitely in their health and fitness, there's a way to help more people and improve your life as well. So we're creating the new path for fitness professionals that includes virtual opportunities to help people with health and fitness. And we're not talking about helping your 20 to 30 clients that you can in a gym. We're talking about helping hundreds, if not thousands of people, just you, become healthy. Because like I've said in many other previous podcasts, is that there's about 300,000 personal trainers in the world, or sorry, in the US right now, 300 to 350,000 personal trainers. And those personal trainers typically only help, 20 to 30 people each year. And that's really only, 60 million people, if that? If my math is probably horrible there. 300,000 times 20 is 600, add 3 zeros. So yeah, 60 million people. That's if every trainer was completely booked, which I know not all of them are. Our job in a population of this country, which is in the 350 million range, our job is to help as many people as possible truly improve their health. And the only way we can do that is through virtual training, because the amount of personal trainers right now is way too low to help everyone in person. So that therefore there is tons of opportunity in the virtual world. On the internet. And then now what we're very excited to have some announcements coming up very soon, so stay tuned for that, is we're moving into the opportunities available in the metaverse. How can you impact more people as a fitness professional by utilizing the newest form of the internet, which is Web3, which is the metaverse, and we are coming out with something extremely exciting in the next 2 months. We won't be able to announce it too soon, but coming up in the next, I'd say, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, we have an amazing opportunity for all fitness professionals to be a part of the first movement into the metaverse. So if you aren't, we'll say, following us on social media, make sure you do so, but specifically join our Discord, because that is where we're going to give the opportunity to the fitness professionals first, because that is our crew. That's our community. Those are the people that we love and we chat with every day, and become a part of that community, because the opportunities are going to be extremely bountiful, and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that the new path of the fitness professional, the new school, is filled with successful personal trainers that have way longer than 2-year careers, that create a financially stable future for them and their families. Really excited to announce that, and just so stay tuned. Make sure you join the Discord. Once again, the Discord link is at the bottom or in the show notes right here. So pause wherever you're listening to this at, click the show notes, click that Discord link, join it right away. It is going to be an amazing opportunity that we're working extremely hard on. But hopefully that history of the fitness professional helped you to realize that it's time to make the next leap. And we've had 30 years, maybe even 40 years or so of the gym job being the main path of most personal trainers, and it's time to really move away from that, because, and I don't want to say move away from that entirely, because it is also a path that you can totally take that has a ton of meaning and you can help a ton of people. But if you really want to make an impact, really want to have a long-term career, avoid career burnout, and really create something special for yourself in the future, it's time to move to the new school. And we're going to be we're creating that right now, and really want a lot of you guys that are listening to us to be a part of that journey. So give yourself a pat on the back for listening to this podcast, because you investing in your education and learning about the next steps about where this industry is going is the opportunity. So I applaud you. I'm grateful that you're here listening, and super pumped to keep you guys posted on this announcement. Anyways, thanks so much for checking out the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. I appreciate you and all your time, and I will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
As always, thanks for listening to the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. You can learn more about fitness mentors at fitnessmentors.com. Be sure to share this podcast on social media. And remember, we are here to help you succeed.